Flat Earth debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Refracted Curvature for the last time, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Politics Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Oh.
Hey.
Good afternoon, guys.
How are you?
Very well. We were discussing in the pre-show John is moving on to greener pastures, so we may not see his smiling face, metaphorically speaking, for some time. So he's quite excited and obviously a little bit depressed about that fact today, which is his last in the politics server. So he's going to be raising his hand to get his word in edgeways, which he may or may not do, depending on how sprightly the Discord panel are today. We'll find out shortly, I'm in no doubt. Maybe we should be assessing how things are going. You all good with debating Flat Earth? How's it been going since the last time we came here?
Same old, man. A lot of trolls, you know.
Yeah, they did it. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, they did another play to try and get the channel shut down, and it was dead on arrival. It's basically some old hashed up drama, and also some things that mods aren't enforcing TOS again, and yeah, it fell flat. So we just banned a bunch of them, and they begged to come back, and we're like, well, you have to disavow your comments, and like, so then they came crawling back, and they're like, okay, yeah, cut the shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize.
Okay.
Cut the crap.
Well, I was actually talking about a different aspect. I was more talking about, how you've been elevating the position to the general people who come into the server with arguments about elevation angles and such like.
Oh, yeah, that's just the same. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just try and keep them down here on Earth. They like to wander off into space.
Absolutely.
In all these discussions.
That's almost like the first thing they try to do. They take you upwards instead of focusing on the plane. Always they do that. Yeah.
But remember, and it's always kind of funny to think about. Up is with reference to horizontal plane, so it doesn't matter how high you go up. It's still with reference to the horizontal plane.
Exactly. They can't take you up on a ball.
I was literally talking about that this morning about 4 hours ago. So it's 6 in the morning right now for me. So 4 hours ago, I was in another server. I literally mentioned you, Nathan. I was like, it's funny because Nathan Oakley, he likes to point out that everything like the ISS, the planets, all this stuff, we have distances to them, but they're based upon Earth. How about that?
Yeah, same goes for orbital motion. You'll need a flat Earth to measure, to put orbital motion into effect. So Earth is measured flat for the assertion of a globe in orbital motion.
Well, Danny Faulkner wouldn't admit that.
I've been editing that, actually. It's not normally something I'd discuss. Just do a quick shout out to Pin Puncher. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, happy Friday. Cheers to Nathan and crew. Well, and crew today is the Discord politics server. Hopefully one of the mods in the YouTube live stream chat will just drop a quick link to the politics YouTube 24/7 flat Earth section of this particular Discord that we're in today, so people can actually join it. I'm sure I've praised it many times in the past, but it's a very good server. We have a good laugh when we come here on a Friday, and the audience love it.
Yeah, good times.
Well, we just want the argument to progress. We want people to be pushing the right arguments rather than this is how the globe doesn't work, which is what we've had for 10 years. More preferable is to move forward on the front foot and say this is how Earth is flat.
Right. And about that, I was actually thinking about Danny Faulkner and the conversation I had with him. And do you remember when he said that we don't have to take measurements to know a shape? We can just look at something. That's paraphrasing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I've been editing it.
Absolutely.
What is the first thing? Hold on. As a statement of fact, what is the first thing that Nathan said before it was measured, before it was navigated? It was what?
Obviously and observably flat.
Yeah. And Danny Faulkner appealed to that. And I missed it.
Wow. Big spender Jardo has just dropped $50 into my super chat. Says this super chat is to thank John on his contribution over the years. Amazing effort whilst trying to raise kids. A fellow electrical engineer, instrument tech. I wish him well in the future, even though he's called me retarded once. Best wishes. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat.
You got to send that to John. Sounds like that was for John.
Maybe I'll have to give him another contribution.
No,
Is that what you mean,
Jardo?
You actually want that to be contributed directly to John? That's a pain in the ass, but if that's what you want, let me know.
No. Do not do that. That was for you, man.
I don't know. I'll clarify. If you want me to pass that on to John, I will.
Nathan.
Well, either way, Jardo will let me know what he intends for me to do with his $50 super chat. If it is intended specifically for John, let me know and I will pass it on to him. If not, happy days for me. Unlucky QE. We'll find out shortly. Anyway, right, let's move on. Thank you for the super chat either way. Jardo, really appreciate the support. So yeah, so you guys are generally arguing that more. As I say, what is it, a couple of months ago when we first started coming in here, there was a notion that this would be turned into a pretty much globe-dominated server and there'd be no discussion of flat Earth because it would be so heliocentric in nature. That obviously hasn't happened.
No, they come in and get spanked as usual. See, in the 24/7 servers, we don't speculate here. We like to stick to facts and things that we can show and prove. So, you know, even in our original server, QE spends a bit of time in there, and he'll be pulling up any flat earthers that want to come in and speculate and talk about domes and ice walls and AE maps, yeah. So no, that doesn't occur in here.
What about anti-flat earther? I'm going to have to come up with a new title for the people who oppose the idea that Earth is actually measured flat. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there's got to be a title for the internal flat earthers who oppose the idea of the simplistic argument that we're currently punting.
Oh, you're talking about the flat earthers that don't know it's flat?
Or argue that it's not
He's talking about the
flat.
believers in flat Earth. Yes.
Well, there's other people who oppose the argument on more intellectual grounds, not valid or legitimate ones, but I'm asking if you've had issues with flat earthers saying they don't like the idea of you punting the idea that Earth is measured flat.
Oh yeah, we get those guys in here as well, of course. Haven't had them around for a while, but yeah, they come in and out.
I've got something to say to all of those guys.
AI.
Sorry, go ahead.
AI destroyed that argument.
Well, I want to thank them. So to all those people who've been, it's been 21 times that we've gone around the do-si-do of that particular argument. Earth isn't measured flat. How can you say it's measured flat when you use this bit of flat Earth to measure it? Either way, that argument has meant that we have inadvertently ignored ballers. That is to say, they've become inconsequential. Our focus of concern has been why hasn't our own side cottoned on to this simplistic nature of Earth measurement? Why haven't they just run with it immediately? So that becomes our focus. And it's ended up inadvertently triggering ballers like Danny Faulkner to actually enter into the discussion where they hadn't before. Because they've become, like, it's not us stating it, it's our demeanour, it's our behaviour. They've become inconsequential to the debate because there isn't one. So we're bandying words amongst ourselves about how we should phrase this. And they've kind of had their noses pushed out and they've reacted quite badly. Or well, depending on how you want to look at it.
Well, the thing is, and I noticed this about Danny as well, is he was scared to death to talk about measurement. He wanted to keep it in just the conceptual, hypothetical mathematical, right?
Yeah, Adam ripped that to shreds.
That doesn't help.
And then he hightailed it, didn't he?
Oh yeah. As soon as Adam was able to force him to accept that for his initial claim, he would have to take a measurement to a certain angle, so it put him in a spot. And I mean, he was well thought out. Danny Faulkner is not as stupid as a lot of people like to.
Oh, give me a break. Nathan, what show number is that?
What show number is the one with Danny Faulkner? Yesterday.
Yeah, because that would be a good one to promote.
2124, I believe. I think we're on 2125 today.
So I have heard, though, Nathan, I have heard like a lot more people, not just in this server, but in multiple servers across Discord. I have heard more people like stating like, hey, the earth is measured flat, like along the lines. And then there's literally globers that would be like, oh, you sound like a Nathan Oakley guy. Like real talk. Like they're literally almost coining it to be, if you say the earth is measured flat, that's a Nathan Oakley claim. I have heard that lately a lot, by the way. It's like,
good.
That's
good.
It's history repeating itself, because I've got to say something I said last time we did this. Once a year, we typically, it's not through effort to do this. It's not like we annually go, oh, what's going to be 2025's argument? But typically, once a year, there's a really cracking argument that comes out. And then one of the team will be punting that argument at the forefront of it, if you know what I mean. And whenever anybody repeats the argument, which is inevitably going to be a good, solid argument, they pin it on the person that's originated the argument. So that's just a quantum eraser argument. That's just a Nathan Oakley argument. That's just a Brian's logic argument. That's just a 10th man argument. You know what I mean? You get that?
Yeah.
And obviously, as a YouTuber, that's great. With my YouTube hat on, I go, great. So you're acknowledging that this is my argument. Hopefully people find their way to me as a result. But when I take the YouTube hat off and put the flat earth hat back on, it's terrible. No, it's not my argument if you're arguing it. Yeah? Now, this is a double-edged sword for credit. Obviously, I'm defining that with two different hats. But in terms of you, personally, if you're listening to this, or whoever I'm talking to now, who is it APOC I was talking to?
Yeah.
If it was you making the argument, it's your argument then. Yeah? Me, I'm lazy and I don't like even citing things because I can't be bothered to go and get them. But everything that comes out of my mouth is my argument. And you have to know that. You have to take ownership of not only your wins, but obviously your losses as well. But in loss, you can't blame the originator of the argument if you don't understand it. And in victory, it's your victory if you've punted the argument successfully. Go ahead, John and Neil. Whichever one you
Just a test. That was just a test, and you failed. My hand was up first, and you said, go ahead, John and Neil. Go ahead, John.
I wasn't looking at the screen. I just heard doorbells and hands up. Oh, well, my bad. Neil, obviously, priority should be given. And then I'm going to read out a super chat. Got to pay the bills, after all.
Read out the super chat. I was just testing the system.
Fine, we'll go to John after the super chat. Just to clarify, that super chat was for Nathan. Hey. Sorry, John. Unlucky. I should just read out the super chat. I'll start that again. Just to clarify, that super chat was for Nathan. But used to thank John, refracted as John. As for John QE, I'll make a substantial contribution tonight. As for Neil, even though he annoys me, I stand by for memberships. I see. So you're saying stand by, you might get a free membership, Neil. No compliments for you, but you might get his scraps he's tossing you, rather than a compliment just telling how much he annoys you.
I love the scraps that he tosses me.
Me too. They pay my mortgage, and as do the super chats that you've just given me. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. The John was the other John. I got you. That's why refracted curvature was quick to step in and say, no, he means it's for you. Gotcha. Thank you for all the support, Jardo. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, he's having troubles getting into the room at the moment. Sorry, mate. I was just saying, Jardo, he's been trying to get in here for a couple of weeks, and he's having troubles with the politics server and codes for some reason. So we've been trying to get him in here, but he's can't get in. So he's obviously on YouTube.
Well, that's something I was going to mention, actually. There's been several people from our own server, that's Flat Earth Debate server, that I've invited along, after probably inviting them previously, to join the main panel. So it might be... this is kind of as a result of you suggesting that you're going to be toddling along to greener pastures, John. But obviously I've then gone, oh, okay, well, it might be an idea to increase the numbers in the Master B Skype back office, whatever you want to call it, so that there's different people who have started joining. And there has been a few people that have, gone, oh, right, okay, I'm now in this group. I will join on the main panel. So you might see a slight change to the show. It's not ultimately going to be any different. But there might be some seemingly new faces. They're not, because they're people that have been specifically invited. Go ahead, John.
I just wanted to speak to the Nathan Oakley argument thing. Saying the Earth is measured flat is not contentious. It is not an argument. They will tell you it is measured flat. I mean, unless they're talking to a flat earther, I guess. Then they're standard, then they go into nut job mode. But it is part of their rhetoric. They should not be arguing with that. Earth is measured flat. They I don't know why they would argue with that. Maybe the flat earthers trying to argue it has just got them confused, because it's so biggie, it's flatty. Remember, what is it, a local plane? Yeah, they measure it flat too.
I was going to say, since doing this debate, there's been many times that Globers have told us about how they measure it flat and then just move on very quickly, hoping that you won't notice, which we didn't, to justifying why it wouldn't need to be ball-shaped in those circumstances when they're measuring it flat. But since 2024, basically, we've had maybe 2 or 3 examples on Flat Earth Debate, as in the YouTube show going out live or otherwise, where somebody has done it during the time that we're punting this rhetoric. That is to say, move on the front forward, tell people Earth's measured flat, because it is, as John has just said, it's not contentious. Not only is it not contentious, they measure it flat too, and then justify why it wouldn't need to be ball-shaped. So my question is, has there been any examples that you guys have experienced in the politics server where your globe Earth opponent has told you that they've measured it flat? I'm not expecting a whole barrage of people saying yes, by the way. It's just interesting to see. We've only had 2 or 3 examples, as I've just said. It will happen. Yeah? Once you get to grips with the argument and how it actually works. Wow, Apocryphon's dropping big dollar on me. Better shout that out before I do anything else. Wow, Apocryphon, you're here in the panel. Thank you. 100 for you and 100 for John. I will miss him, his insight, wisdom, and thank you, Nathan, for all that you have done for truth. Blessings to you both. Wow, thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate the support.
For sure. No, for sure, brother. Thank you. It's been a long time coming, but for sure, man. Thank you.
Nobody has ever measured the Earth flat.
Here we go.
It's true. Do you have a non-question begging argument? Do you have a non-question begging argument for the flat Earth?
Okay, first, if we're going to do this, can you back off your mic a couple of inches just so you're not distorted, so you sound at your best?
Great. Yeah, but this has been taken up before. You dealt with this before, Nathan.
Everyone else be quiet, please. Okay, if we're going to do
this... Do you know what a question begging argument is?
You made a statement that I'm going to challenge.
Is rise over run a question begging argument? When you use rise over run, you're begging the question, Brenda?
No, when you assume that the ground is flat and that you're measuring it flat, that begs the question.
Right. It's not rise over curve. It's rise over run. That's a horizontal plane of reference. It's not. We're not begging the question, Brenda. You're just not getting it.
An elevation angle isn't rise over run. I'm talking about your claim that when you measure an elevation angle that the ground is flat. That's begging the question.
No, no, Brenda, sweetie, I'm trying to tell you that rise over run is one example of measuring Earth flat. I didn't exactly state the elevation angle, but so that the rise over run, that one's flat. It's just that elevation angle isn't, right?
I don't know what you mean by rise over run. We measure the curvature. It's 8 inches per mile squared.
Not in rise over run, it's not. That is just a horizontal
I
plane.
don't know.
You're wrong.
Don't know what you're talking about there. I don't know that argument.
It's height, Brenda. Do you not know what height is?
Height is a change in the distance, right, the elevation, altitude.
Right. Right. So you get a slope from a point at your feet to the top of an object to form a triangle so you can calculate the length of one of the sides. Rise over run.
Yeah. What about it?
Now, if I don't point out where that's a flat Earth, do you just think, like, ignore it?
Oh, that's not correct for on a globe. That's not how you would measure that height. It would be height. It would be its distance above mean sea level. So you measure the height of a mountain by its distance from mean sea level.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
The horizontal plane of reference, yes. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go get her.
No, mean sea level is based on WGS, the spheroid. It's not based
Level. on
a flat Earth. It's based on a spheroid.
Level. Sea level. Yeah, level.
Level means conforming to the curvature of the Earth.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Why is level in your Earth curve maths not comporting to the centre of Earth with eye level and surface level then?
Level means conforming.
I heard you the first time, and I put a response to you, rinse and repeat. Much? I respond. Don't want to hear it a third time either. If level moves around the centre of a sphere Earth, why is level in Earth curve maths not moving around the centre of Earth and parallel with eye level? Both of them are horizontal, flat, not curving. You say otherwise, twice. I respond, no, it isn't in Earth curve maths. Level's level. Why would you say such a stupid thing? Is it because you need to use a bit of flat Earth with sea level? Yes, it is. No, love. Level means having no part higher or lower than another. And to define a curve to be comporting with, as you suggest level is, you'd need to describe it in terms of its deviation from level. You can't even describe a curved Earth without having level be level. That's absurd. That's the end of the discussion, by the way. There's no response required to that.
Right. So
sea level. So sea level. So welcome to Flat Earth. You need sea level.
Say those words, but that doesn't
let's
mean
just
anything.
try it again. Welcome to Flat Earth. Your response was to say sea level. Yeah, sea level. That's level.
No, it wasn't. No, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I said horizontal.
So can we move her? She's now denying what she said. She said sea level. Now she's denying it. I don't want to talk to her anymore.
Yeah, and the rise over run was what it started with because she said, you're not measuring for curvature that way, so you're just using a flat plane.
And I'll point out that with beautiful timing, Brenda just needs a little bit of flat Earth to move forward with her claim of a globe. That would be sea level. Well, that would be a level then for the sea. Yeah, that would be a flat Earth. Oh, but if I claim that level isn't level anymore, then it's all good that I need a little bit of flat Earth to use to start my claim off. Yeah, you're going to need a bit of flat Earth for your claim of a globe there with sea level. Now, let it be known for every single person watching that all of you will measure Earth flat, regardless of your belief in a globe. And Brenda has just demonstrated that for your delight. Because she needs just a little bit of level. That would be flat. To start her claim. And when I turn around and say, well, it's a flat Earth that you're being welcome to, she turns around and says, no, because level isn't level. it moves around a description that could only be described if I've got level to describe it deviating from. But the level itself isn't level. So I respond,
Why
yeah, it
are you
is in your
screaming your
maths.
tits off?
It is in your maths, my response. Where does she go from there? Nowhere. You need a flat Earth to claim a globe. It's surface level in Earth curve maths, and it's not moving around a sphere. It's level. It has no part higher or lower than the other, so it can be parallel with eye level, also in Earth curve maths. So surface level is flat. Right there in your own maths. You need a flat Earth more than we do. Brenda needs sea level to start her claim, as do all of you, on the globe. You're going to be measuring a flat Earth for your claim. I'll be pointing it out the moment you use it.
One of the funniest things that I find, Nathan, that every glober that comes into this argument and says, as Brenda just said, they have never built anything to where the blueprints are based upon these so-called elevations, whatever it may be. That's why I said so-called. You might be 400 feet above sea level. You might be 800 feet above sea level, but it's always above sea level. None of them have ever built anything in their life, but they want to try to come tell us that it's not based upon that. And I find that funny. It's fucking ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous.
No swearing.
I know, I caught myself.
I was going to take it somewhere
but
else,
you-
by the way. Rise Over Run was where John took it. I was going to take it to Eratosthenes, like we did with the other guy, and get a cut between a rock and a hard place. So it's not... You were saying it's a begging the question to assume Earth's flat when you take elevation angle measurements. So, therefore, void? Oh, yes, absolutely. So Eratosthenes is void? He
I
needs a
think
flat
that's
Earth
where you
too.
should take it all the time.
They need a flat Earth to measure. That's how their claims all start. We all measure Earth flat. Yeah, John.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
went
John,
to the
baby.
rise over one because when you get that angle to the height of the object from the bottom of your feet, that is a terrestrial elevation angle, and it is a triangle. Just so everybody knows.
Not only that, a lot of globers are trying to trick everybody up and say, well, we don't need the surface of the earth to create that angle. We could just use the vertical. But what they don't understand, or what they're not telling their audience, is that even if you establish a plumb bob to get your vertical, you're still basing upon a 90-degree angle, which creates the baseline to begin with. These guys, they have so many tactics, it's funny. But they're not builders. They're not even in the industry of building it. And it's funny to me because I am, so I could just laugh at them.
Me too. It's still referencing Earth. They could use all the plumb bobs they want. Still a reference to flat Earth.
Right, a few shout-outs. Jardo just gifted a whole load of membership, so welcome to Andy, Christian, Slow-Mo Moonbuggy, Porn Idol 1, Paul Snell, Daz Studio, MF2, who I think... Is that Jason? I think I recognise the thumbnail. Let me know from the chat, MF2. Click OK. Got a membership. Well, hey! Uncommon Sense and Larry Silverstein's insurance policy. Brilliant. Richard Brown, and there's one other, if the chat would slow down, OBE Lines, another friend of the show. Brilliant. Well, you've all got free memberships. Say a big thank you to Jardo.
Wait, I missed it. And did you say Jensen Flatfoot got a free membership?
Possibly. Did I?
Oh, he's my biggest fan.
Maybe. I don't think so. I'll have to have a look. Jason Dean, thank you for the super chat. A circle inside a circle is not level. What? A circle inside a circle is not level? What does that mean?
He's talking about having a equidistant circumference to a smaller circle that is not level.
Has Flat Out Truth got a channel? Flat Out Truth just joined as a penguin, as a member. I recognise that name. I'm pretty sure you. Let me know from the chat. Have you got a channel? If so, I'll shout it out. Anyway, right, let's get back to the Discord server. Sorry, I'm being really rude. I'm your guest here, and I'm shouting out all my super chats and talking to my show. Sorry, that's really rude.
You're a total jerk.
Well,
I'm
is
gonna
there
tell you what
anybody?
I really-
Is there anybody in there that wants to come out and give us some evidence of their sphere?
Well, if
When
nobody's
you
gonna
say come
talk,
out, look.
Go ahead. Humongous what?
Hello. Yeah, I was saying if no one's gonna talk, I was looking into chat. I saw this little diagram that Radwin posted, which is kind of flawed. The point is that you flatten the Earth and then bring the sun closer to the ground, and it acts the same way as if something's on a sphere. But the problem is that you can increase the height of the poles here, and that would change the angle of the shadow. However, on the surface of a sphere, no matter how tall those poles get, the angle of the shadow still remains consistent.
There's no
Incorrect.
angle.
You're
There's no
wrong.
angle. No, you go, John.
Yeah, that's just incorrect. There is no angle the shadow is creating on the surface of a sphere. If your baseline's the sphere, that is just a vertex. It is not an angle.
Correct.
What I'm talking about the angle off of the peak of the pole, right? So if you like bring a piece of paper and see how long it takes before it starts being shrouded by the pole, you'll see the angle through that. It really has nothing to do with the ground. You just see it on the ground as well.
Right, you said it's got nothing to do with the ground. You'd just be on the ground. The shadow's on the ground, isn't it?
But a shadow is kind of a zone.
Just let me lead you. The shadow is on the ground, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. If that line is curving, then it is not an angle. Do you understand?
The shadow is curving.
If the shadow is curving, then it is not an angle.
The shadow is basically a slice in the light.
No,
You
it's
think
just-
you're cutting the earth in half
it's
to
just
get a
one
shadow?
line of two that form an angle. That's all it is.
Sorry, what?
Just one line of two
May I
that
ask
form an
you,
angle.
humongous?
It is two people talking at the same time.
It's one line of two that form an angle. Correct?
All I'm saying is that
Is
you
that
have
correct? Is that correct?
What are you saying?
That it's two lines meeting at a vertex, aka an angle.
Sure,
Not if one of the lines is curving. Do you understand?
but
Not but.
neither of the lines
Stop.
I'm
You
talking
don't need
about
to
are
chant through the
curving.
conclusion that you've ignored 3 times. I'm concluding. It's as in the end that you just need to either concede or have it repeated 16 more times. No. If one of those lines is bent, as in on a curved global surface, it is not an angle. Now, for you to claim
Okay.
it is... Let's try that again. For you to claim it is an angle, you must concede we will measure Earth flat for it to be an angle. Do you understand?
What does that have to do with the experiment?
You said that one was working on a globe and one was working on a flat Earth. And John and I both interrupted at the same time and said one is not an angle. The one on a curve isn't two straight lines meeting at a vertex, aka an angle. It's one straight line meeting a curve, which is not an angle.
Yeah, but we don't really care about the ground. We're caring
do we
about
not?
the top of the pole and the shadow.
Do we not care about the ground on a flat Earth debate? No, in this particular instance, we absolutely care about the ground, and we are very specifically measuring the ground flat. This is a flat Earth only measurement because it's an angle. So while you can say we don't care about the ground when we're measuring the ground flat, I say we do care because it can only be done if the ground is a horizontal plane of reference, a baseline, flat.
You're ignoring the point. The
No, I'm
only
not.
difference is you're changing how tilted the pole is. The angle you're measuring is off the peak of the pole. It's not the pole to the ground. It's the pole to the shadow.
Don't say angle if you think the baseline's curved. Don't say angle and try to make your
It's
argument.
not the baseline.
Because every time you say angle, you're invoking a horizontal plane of reference for you to get as your baseline. And in this specific case, it's a shadow on the ground.
Yeah, you'll
Is
need
your
a flat
horizontal
Earth.
The
plane of reference.
shadow,
You
we're
don't need to
talking
get
about
angry,
the
right? Do you want to back off your mic a couple of inches while we tell you, while you calm down, that Earth will be measured flat in this example, whether you like it or not?
Here, someone just posted it in chat. You're conceptualizing that it's the line to that curve, but that's not where
Sorry,
I'm
we're not-
measuring.
sorry,
I'm
stop,
measuring.
Stop. I'm not doing anything. It's your example.
Yeah. But you're interpreting it wrong.
No, I'm not. It's just an
You
angle.
are interpreting.
No, I'm not interpreting anything. If it's an angle, it is flat. Now, you don't have to like
you're
that.
not
And you can
interpreting, you're not
interrupt
listening?
me at every single time I conclude this point with ipso facto. No interpretation required. You say, not me, angle. I say straight, flat, baseline then. Because if it isn't, then it isn't an angle. So, for this example, in both instances, one with you with an angle on a fantasy curved line that isn't an angle, and the actual acquisition of an angle from a flat Earth, we will be measuring two straight lines. One is a baseline, and the other is a line that meets it. The angle is between those 2 points. The tip of the line that moves up perpendicular to the flat Earth. Yeah, that's what you're measuring. With respect to a ground that is flat only. It cannot be done any other way. Yeah, in
The way
conclusion.
the actual experiment goes
you're
is
being
you're measuring the
frustrated by-
top
Oh,
of the line.
God, you don't know what an experiment is. In conclusion, Earth is measured flat.
You just
and
like
what
don't
you're
listen to
being
anything I say,
frustrated
and I'm
by
just you know.
is that you're.
Sorry,
Pardon me,
John,
I think I
just
can
hold
help
on a
you a
second,
little
John.
bit.
Just hold
What
on a
you're being-
second. John, sorry, did you want to tell me I don't listen to you telling me that this is an experiment? Measurement of angles is...
I understand exactly.
You don't have
what
to
you're saying.
interrupt me when I spank your bum because you've said something stupid. Yes, I do listen. I heard you say the word experiment. No, this is an angle measurement. That's maths. You don't seem to understand the difference between the cause and effect reasoning in the scientific method. That would be an experiment. And mathematical acquisition of angles with respect to a flat Earth. What was that you say? As an ad hominem attack? That's you not responding to my argument and instead telling me I don't understand? Yeah, I do.
No, that's not
Yeah,
an
I
ad
can
hominem.
listen,
I
and
was
yes,
saying
you
that
are
you're unwilling to
interrupting.
listen to
Triggered
the
globe
argument.
believer, presumably. You are interrupting as I conclude that this angle measurement, ipso facto, will be measuring Earth flat for everyone who wants to call it an angle, like you did. So you called it an angle, so it is with respect to a flat baseline. That is, as I have already suggested, but you feel the need to continue, the end. The conclusion being, we measure Earth flat. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I forget so often where we don't have a lot of interactions with Glovers that I'm not actually trying to help someone out. You're in the middle of a debate, so I apologize. But the thing that's confounding him is he's been within our education system, we're taught to use a flat Earth to prove a globe, and it's skipped by, and it's never been addressed like we're addressing it now, and it's hard to deal with. I think it would be good to, if you're having trouble with it, to go and think about it for a little bit, and it will help you. I promise.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if he needs help. Yeah, Brenda needs sea level. That's the first part of her claim. Let's just utilise sea level. That's level. No justification for how level it isn't, comporting to a sphere, so she says, is going to undo what level is. And it's required for her geometry to infer that she's got sphericity. She's going to describe a deviation from that level. That what isn't level anymore because you need to start with sea level. This guy needs to start with an angle measurement off a flat baseline, doesn't he? So what, we're not going any further, and maybe that's me not listening, and I'm going to get interrupted while I summarise that fact. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get interrupted by a triggered Fundy, aren't I? Yeah, because he needs a flat Earth angle to start this process. I mean, he's already got it in juxtaposition with two different things, one not being an angle that's off a globe that apparently also works. No, you will measure Earth flat. We all measure Earth flat. Globers included.
They've been doing it for years. We just never picked up on it.
Yeah,
but now we're honed in on it.
Up until 2024, both globers and flatties happily accepted the flat Earth prerequisites that they used at the start of their examples. And then in juxtaposition, you've got the flat Earth using globe Earth maths set against a straw man false dichotomy of what they say flat Earthers claim. Pizza pie in a sky vacuum with a boat falling over an edge. And they say, oh, ours wins. What, yours wins when it's utilising a flat Earth measurement as its genesis? That's just a flat Earth versus a flat Earth with you saying your measured flat model, called globe, wins. You still need a flat Earth. Like sea level. Like an angle with a shadow and a stick. You know, all of these examples use a flat Earth as the baseline to start the claim. Now, the quicker people start realising this rather than just accepting it as a prerequisite flat Earth measurement that globers are going to use and then start arguing after that, yeah, you'll lose all the time. You've allowed them to measure and utilise a flat Earth to make their globe Earth argument. Stop them. It's like you want sea level.
You're just lying.
Oh, sea level's not level. Angles aren't angles.
No. You're lying about requiring this prerequisite of having a flat level plane you're making this angle from.
How's
That's what an angle is.
How's that a lie? It is a prerequisite. You had the same prerequisite when you described an angle off a baseline. That is a prerequisite. Yeah. Maybe I'll interrupt the conclusion of how this is absolutely not a lie, how outrageous, and it is absolutely without doubt a prerequisite. For it to be an angle, it's got a baseline that is flat. If it isn't, it's not an angle. I have covered this with you personally 5 times, and now you're calling me a liar. No, mate, you don't have to like it. It's a fact. The prerequisite is the baseline for it to be called an angle, as you did. Are you a liar when you claim that you are getting angles? Because angles have got straight lines. One is the baseline for everyone, and it's flat. I am not a liar. That's an outrageous claim. I'd like an apology.
Well, wouldn't that make me a liar then? If I say that, like, I'm apologizing.
Yeah, you lied about getting an angle off a globe. That's your lie about an angle working off a curved surface. That's you. If you want to tar me with the standards that you have, I wouldn't dare. But I will, because you've done it to me in the last 2 minutes, just to compare and contrast. Yes, by your own stupid, idiotic standards, that would make you a liar when you say an angle works from a curve. No, liar.
No, I never said that.
No, that just makes you stupid, as you interrupt me, pointing out that, yes, by your own stupid standards, it would make you a liar. Yes. No, you don't get angles from curved surfaces. I'm not going to call you a liar. I'll just call you stupid. Someone who doesn't understand what an angle is. Somebody idiotic who says that when you've got a curved line meeting a straight line, it forms an angle. That doesn't make you a liar, my friend. It makes you stupid.
I like how you love to point out whenever someone quote unquote ad hominem somebody, but then you're ad hominem me. When I call you a liar, it's not ad hominem, it's just a fact because it's being unproductive to the conversation.
What did I lie about?
Well, hold on a minute. Not being productive to the conversation is not a lie. What you don't define what a lie is. You don't even know what that is, do you?
Lie, being untruthful, not saying that something that's true, saying something
that's
that's
not correct.
false,
that's not
and
a lie.
knowing it's false.
That's not right.
That's incorrect.
You don't even know what a lie
You
is.
don't even know what a lie is. The guy's a moron. He doesn't even know the words he's using. He's just defined a lie incorrectly. Incorrectly, my friend. You don't know what the words you're using mean. I am not a liar when I describe your example of an angle. It will never have a curved line meeting the perpendicular line that forms the shadow. Ever. It will be a straight line. You have, for me pointing that out 6 times, called me a liar for it. That's not a lie. You will measure Earth flat for a straight line. Now, me concluding it with you chanting through it 6 times isn't going to change the fact that it's a fact. And it's not going to make me a liar because I point that fact out. It's an outrage, and I've asked you once, now twice, for an apology. It's not a lie to say that an angle's an angle. It is an angle. You used it.
Which side is the initial side that we're measuring here for this experiment?
It's not an experiment. A guy, you can't even listen to the words that I've put to you. We already described this category error with you once. It's an angle measurement. That's maths. It's not cause and effect reasoning.
Yes, it's an angle
Don't talk
measurement.
through me.
Which one is...
Don't talk through me. You triggered zealot globe believer. You don't even know the difference between mathematics and science, and you feel you've got the right to chant through the top of what I'm telling you? By the way, I'm not asking you anything anymore. I'm telling you things. Like maths isn't science. This is not an experiment. A measurement of a baseline with a flat line for it to be called an angle isn't going to be curved. I'm not going to suggest that makes you a liar. Just, as I've said already, not an ad hom, makes you stupid. I've got a diagram up on screen with a stick and a shadow. The baseline must be flat. That's a fact, not a lie.
So where's the baseline?
The flat baseline that I'm not lying about being a prerequisite because it's an angle, that one.
I have a straight line.
So why is it that you cannot concede that your outrageous assertion that I'm lying about that which I've got diagrammatically represented to 117 live audience members, this isn't a lie, it's a fact and a prerequisite to make this measurement of an angle. Earth will be measured flat.
He asked where the baseline was.
So
Nathan.
the thing...
does he know that the shadow is being cast upon the ground and that will be the baseline for this angle?
That's not the
You know
baseline.
that, right?
That's not the baseline.
Wow.
Excuse me?
Wow.
That's
What
not
do
the
you think
baseline. The shadow on the ground is not the baseline. The baseline is the pole, and the terminal side of the angle is the shadow. Not the shadow on the ground, but the actual like angle of the shadow from the object. Because a shadow can be any shape if you manipulate the ground to which it's falling onto. The angle that...
You don't know what a baseline is either.
No, he doesn't.
The baseline initial side
You said
is
the
the
shadow.
basic...
You invoked the shadow, and then you denied that the shadow was on the ground. Now, are you saying the shadow's not on the ground?
Who cares? It's flat.
Wow,
it's an angle. It's flat.
completely
This is
ignoring
non sequitur.
what
Who
I just said.
cares? Stop. Yeah, this is going to be flat for it to be an angle. That's it. End of argument. Don't want to do it 8 more times. I've done it 7.
How could
What
you
you're trying to
possibly
do is
derive
reverse
anything
it, make
from
the
the
vertical
shadow?
the baseline.
Sorry, John, hold on a
There's
second.
no...
Hold on. Sorry. How can I derive anything from the shadow in your argument? My friend, please do not flip the burden. We are simply taking your claim, taking a giant steaming dump on the idea that you could get an angle from a curved surface, and pointing out that in your argument for your claim, Earth will be measured flat. For that, I've been
claim.
interrupted incessantly, first of all. There's the same bloody interruption at the conclusion that we've had about 6 times. Yeah? You just can't help yourself, mate. It's triggering to you. You're a zealot with a belief. I get it. Doesn't alter the fact of the matter that Earth is measured flat. I've got a diagram of what you've described on screen. The fact that you don't understand the words that you're using, like experiment or baseline, these things just, again, not an ad hom, demonstrate your stupidity. I'm not saying you're a lying globe-believing zealot. You're an idiot globe-believing zealot. Hope that's clear.
Yeah, I'm not a zealot. The reason why I interrupt here is because you just interrupted.
Pardon me, I can clear this up. I can clear this up for you, buddy. Let me do that right quick.
Here, I have a pretty important thing to say.
Nothing this guy has to say is important, but you are rumpusing him, John.
Okay, so as I was going to say, the reason why I interrupt, as it may be annoying, is because I'm trying to counter 1 point at a time. It's much more difficult to counter like 5 things you said there at the same time, which I would each like to have an individual assessment of. But it's hard to do all that.
Well, that was fascinating. What a wonderful rebuttal. Chow Yun Cat, thank you for the clown emoji super chat.
If you'd like to repeat like your first and second point from what you were saying earlier, I'd love to counter those.
You made the point, you made the argument, you described angles being measured with respect to a flat earth and angles being measured with respect to a curved surface. This is your argument. We took your argument and pointed out that in all respects, for it to be an angle, it must be measured with respect to a flat earth. For you to call this an angle. That's your argument being wrapped up in a nice package with a bow. That bow has got a tag on it. The tag on it says, Earth is measured flat.
Yeah, I'll make a couple claims here then. I would claim that you don't need to measure...
did! I just took a dump on them. My friend.
More claims.
You don't need more claims. What you need to do, like a man, is acknowledge your loss. You've already made a claim. This curve angle works on a globe just like it works on a flat earth. No, mate, it doesn't. It only works on a flat earth. Now, you're going to eat that before we move on. Now, if you don't, I'll keep you here indefinitely for my audience's amusement. Making you a zealot? Something you denied? Or maybe you can actually prove you're not a zealot by conceding that fact you called me a liar for stating. Earth will be measured flat for you to call this angle an angle. Can you concede that, zealot?
So by bending the knee, that would make me not a zealot?
So far, not conceding a fact that to call this on screen for 120 people live watching that are laughing at you and calling you a clown, for it to be called an angle, it must have a flat baseline while you chant through the conclusion of what will stop you being a zealot as you demonstrate zealotry by chanting through me and asking you again to concede that which you still have not. Zealotry. If you eventually concede it, we can say that we're helping you stop being such a zealot. But at the moment, all you're demonstrating with your interruptions, constant interruptions, is zealotry. Because you can't concede something that's been put to you. I'll count them off. 9 times. In your example, that you are now chanting through incessantly, because you're a zealot, in your example, Earth has been measured flat for an angle. I'm asking you to concede that, and you're asking me about whether or not taking a knee would make you not a zealot, rather than actually conceding that Earth is measured flat for this angle. That's the actual argument.
I would love to tackle the other part, which is zealotry.
You mean the bit that's not the argument? You'd much prefer to discuss something that's not the argument about Earth being measured flat in a flat Earth debate. You'd rather discuss your incessant zealotry than address your argument containing a flat Earth measurement. Yeah, I'm sure you would rather discuss zealotry than the flat Earth in your argument. Sure.
Well, first off, I would love for, I would be allowed to really show you my argument and you'd listen to it without being called a zealot.
I heard it. You told me angles could work off a curved surface as well as they work off a flat Earth. We pointed out that if they're curving, the baselines, that is, for a curved surface, then they're not angles. We listened to your argument. We responded to it now 10 times. But you want to discuss zealotry that you're demonstrating by not conceding something 10 times.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Nathan, I think when you get a chance, I can clear up what he was actually trying to say. It's just a minutia point, but it's worth knowing.
Okay, I'll shout out Unitox Femu. Where is the object which is making shadow? Question mark. Thank you for the super chat. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, he's trying to use the other angle. You know, you got 3 angles in a triangle. You got the 90 on where the sticks in the ground, right? You got that 90, which requires a flat Earth. and then over
Real
on
quickly,
the
I would like to say it's
other
not a
side of the
triangle.
ground, you have
What I prefer, John, is that any examples that make him look stupid or prove Earth's being measured flat, it'd be better if he talked straight through the middle of those rather than them being concisely delivered to the audience. Much better if he talks through the middle of them. He's got something very important to say, he thinks. My friend, you don't know the difference between maths and science, but you're going to tell us you've got something very important to interject with. Shut your mouth.
You're
listen to the people
attacking
talking.
the character rather than the
Mate,
argument.
we've gone through your example 10 times. Now you can shut up.
You never listened to the example. You didn't.
Your example was an angle off a curve and an angle off a flat Earth.
Yeah, but that's not.
Yeah, but I did listen. Now shut your mouth. We dealt with it 10 times. Shut up.
Humongous, to be fair, man, they were just explaining something to you and trying to clarify something for you. And when they got to the point, you've just spoken straight through the top of them again. So if you would like to go ahead, Nathan, I think it was
John.
Not sure who was speaking. John?
Yeah, what you have three sides to the triangle. Where the stick goes in the ground, you form your 90 with the flat Earth, and then moving out to the corner where the shadow is cast on the flat Earth, you form an angle there. That's what we were discussing. He was trying to take it to the vertical, that where the stick's 90 degrees to the flat Earth, and go to that third part of the triangle that's not touching the Earth, to try to make this point.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not really relevant. His objection is like a minutia point. You know what I mean?
Very good. Is there anybody else? Because 10 times is enough, in my opinion.
Humongous. In the chat from George, 58 minutes past the hour.
58 minutes per hour. Yeah. You're talking about the guy with like the compass?
We got a guy with a stick in the ground with a sun shining.
Yeah.
And he's creating a triangle, a right angle triangle, where the right angle is the base of the stick. The other part of the triangle is the angle to the sun. Yeah, the shadow. How is that not forming a triangle, as per your claim?
The reason why is the angle he's actually measuring here is the one where the sun first is interrupted by the pole. He's just using the ground because it's easier to measure it like that. In the case that he can realistically be up on the side of a mountain cliff and still be able to measure the shadow of the stick, even though there's no ground next to him, right? It's the shadow is all the way down the ground, probably 1,000 meters below him. He's measuring the vertex right at the tip of the stick.
To what? The sun.
The sun's
and the
rays
stick,
being
just out of
blocked.
interest, sorry, the stick itself, we just ram that into the ground at any old direction, do we not? On the side of the mountain.
We would like it to be upright.
What, as in perpendicular? Sorry, stop. As in perpendicular to the plane of reference?
As in to the point where it doesn't fall down.
As in perpendicular to, as in perpendicular, as in perpendicular to the plane.
I don't see how this has anything to do with anything.
I mean, okay, so I can just shove it into the ground sideways, can I? The stick.
No.
Oh no, so it would be so it would need upwards. No. Yeah, I got your answer. I'm leading you. Yeah. So no, it would need to be what, perpendicular to the plane, like at 90 degrees to it, like vertical.
This is where a tangent.
This is where I don't get an answer because you're going to need a flat Earth for it, aren't you? Yes, you definitely will. So I'm not going to get an answer. I'm going to get a lot of chanting through the conclusion. So we're going to be perpendicular to the plane of reference, aren't we? It's going to be vertical, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to need a flat Earth for that. Yeah. Earth is measured flat. They just need a little bit of flat Earth. You know, like perpendicular to the plane of reference for the stick. I mean, it's not like we can randomly shove it in to a globe. It needs a plane of reference to be perpendicular to. You don't have that if you're pointing inwards on a globe, obviously. So you're going to need a flat Earth to reference to start this process off, just to shove the stick in the ground. I mean, maybe we haven't listened to your argument or anything, but your argument seems to require a stick perpendicular to a plane of reference. That would be vertical. For you to start this process off, you know, you can't just shove it in any old how, can you? You're going to be referencing a plane for the stick itself. John pointed that out to you too. He said you'd have to have it 90 degrees to it, but you just chanted through it because you're a zealot. You didn't hear it because you talked through it. When John pointed that out to you, you started talking in the middle of his pointing that out to you. I'm actually reiterating something you didn't hear because you talked rather than listened to the flat earth that will be measured when you get a stick to be perpendicular to it. Hope that's clear. Earth measured flat for your stick.
He invoked a tangent.
Hey, Nathan, just real quick for this character. Where did he hear this claim or argument, if you will, that, you know, along those lines? Like, where did you get this from?
What? Where did I get this
argument
model?
From?
The argument?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
What you're questioning him right now? Where did you get that from? I'm really interested. Like, where did that come from?
I thought it through.
Really?
So if we suppose that the Earth is a sphere, then realistically, if we also assume that all light beams are intersecting the Earth at the same parallel, just line, basically, then you should be able to move two places across the sphere in order to get the angles, and use those angles to find what, percentage of the full circumference you got. Because I was thinking this through with
incorrect.
An orange.
That's
right?
incorrect.
So if
Stop. We don't need an example. We heard your claim. Once you make that claim, you stop, so we can take a giant dump on it. No, when you describe the parallel light rays, the reason for that little apologetic is so that you can take the light rays that meet a curved surface and won't give you an angle, as we've already pointed out, to the centre of a sphere Earth at the equatorial plane. Obviously, you did not know that.
Sorry, what?
The equatorial plane, you said light coming in parallel. That's a justification to take these angles from the centre of a sphere Earth at the equatorial plane. Second time I've said it. You obviously, given that I'm now repeating it and you're interrupting it, did not know that, did you?
As I was saying, sorry, I didn't explain further how my thought process
you didn't know that, did you? Stony silence.
Can I
no, he
explain?
didn't. No, he doesn't know how this works. He knows that light comes in parallel, according to his rhetoric. Obviously doesn't know why. Why would you declare that light comes in?
I can explain.
You don't need to interrupt me, you dumbass. I know more about your stupid globe Earth belief than you do. Now, you might be shocked by that me, the Flat Earther, Nathan Oakley, knows more about your stupid religious belief than you do, and I'm prepared to call you out on every crap bit of belief you peddle here, and call you a zealot when you can't concede facts that you use in your claim, like angles off a plane. Yeah, you're a zealot, and I know more about your religion than you do. When I'm pointing out aspects of your religion, like why you would say light comes in parallel, you don't have to interrupt it. It's because you're going to move something that does not give you an angle, that's a light ray meeting a curved surface, to the centre of the globe Earth, effectively making it redundant, because you're then using an angle off a plane. That plane being justified by the parallel light you claimed, that you didn't even know why you were claiming it. I'm pointing out why you were claiming it and what it is used for. To move that light ray to the centre of hell and use it as an angle. Shut up! As an angle off the equatorial plane. That is the third time I've said it. I also concluded with, obviously, now really obviously, you did not know that, did you? Closed question, third time's a charm.
Anyway, as I was going to...
Not anyway! You, zealot, who has no balls and isn't a man and cannot concede things, you did not know that, did you?
Oh, so you're just omniscient now?
I know you didn't know it because I've had to explain it 3 bloody times with you interrupting it. You said parallel light.
Yeah.
Why is it parallel? Exactly, pray tell.
Wait.
Why is it parallel? Tell
Let me explain. You want to let me?
Maybe you could eat your mic, really eat your mic, because then it won't be obvious that you're stupid. And now I'm saying it a fourth time. You did not know this, did you?
I did.
And why is the light parallel?
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through my thought process here. I thought
Just
it was
tell us why it's parallel. Give it us in one sentence. Why is the light parallel? If you know why, tell us why.
I understood that as the stick or pole or whatever you're using to measure the light increases in height, the angle of the shadow doesn't change at all. So thus you can infer that all the light rays are coming from the same exact parallel equatorial plane, as you would put it, or whatever.
Yeah, the flat earth that you'll actually use the angles with, that's a flat earth. Equatorial plane. Yes, you'll need a flat baseline for these angles that don't work on the sphere surface. They work at the equatorial plane. A flat earth that will work with the angles you measure. So, we'll be using a flat earth then.
Well, I already ruled out the flat.
Sorry, stuttery man, yes is the answer you're looking for. Yes, we'll use the flat equatorial plane. Yes is the word you're looking for.
Can we not use ad hominems here?
What, when I ask you to say yes?
No, when you're calling...
No is the answer to a question that only requires one answer given it is conceded. We will be using the equatorial plane. Yes, we will. Won't we?
I would consider it unreasonable to...
So why are we discussing what you consider to be reasonable when I'm seeking an acquisition of an affirmation of the equatorial plane we'll be using? Why would you be discussing anything other than the affirmative confirmation? Yes, we will be using the equatorial plane with the angles these stars give us, won't we?
And Humongous, it's a yes or no answer. And no, Nathan wasn't speaking over you. You were silent for about 5 seconds because you just don't want to speak the truth, yeah? And you're trying to find a way around it. So it's a yes or no answer, or you'll go back on mute.
We'll be using the equatorial plane, won't we?
You will silence me.
We will be using the equatorial plane.
That's zealotry.
Sorry, zealotry is not what I am doing. It is what you are doing and now projecting. So in the face of his declaration that we will be using the plane, equatorial in nature, by his own words, he cannot simply affirm that which he has already stated overtly. He has stated we're going to be using it with the equatorial plane. Yes, we will, won't we?
I would argue that if you get angry about somebody...
Zealotry, ladies and gentlemen. 130 people watching your zealotry right now, really amused by it. They are laughing their heads off. What a zealot you are. Because you mentioned the equatorial plane, my friend, and now you're failing to concede that which you mentioned? I wonder why. Maybe I'm a zealot.
Yeah. He just backed himself into the corner and realised what he did.
He didn't back himself anywhere. I pushed him there. So we will be using...
Yeah, we ain't asking questions. We ain't asking questions no more. We're telling you guys it's flat.
He backed himself into a corner because he can't get anything off a curve. He's got to take it to the center of the earth.
Yeah, for the angles to work, the ones we measure on the surface, they work up the equatorial plane in hell. On a plane, a flat earth that matches with the angles measured on the surface, a flat earth, because that's what angles are. We covered this in the last discussion with him.
He finally
Well, they
left.
should probably do what their authorities are doing right now is steering away from measurement. So, yeah, if you want to continue to argue this subject, you should probably take Danny Faulkner, PhDs, and take his tact and try to stay as far away from measurement as you can, bud.
Why do they do that, John? They're steering away from the measurement because they cannot get any measurement off of a curve. So they're steering it away from the ground.
Hey, just real quick, guys. Earlier in a discussion in the Discord, somebody brought up a really, really good point, okay? for people that are dealing with space, okay, in their paradigm. Why is everything we deal with in reality X, Y, Z? But what is that
Hold on 1
fourth
second. Just
component?
1 second. Root FE. Please, can you put yourself on mute so you don't destroy my live show? Root FE. If you don't mute in the next 5 seconds, I'll ask somebody to remove you so you don't destroy my show like with the last guy did when I listen back. Sorry, do you want to continue that, hopefully, without some guy eating crisps in a voice chat? Like an idiot, not an ad hom, an idiot. Thank you for doing that. Do you want to start again?
I'll start again. So earlier, somebody brought up, I forgot his name. I wish I remembered it to give him kudos, but he brought up a really good point. He said, like, everything we deal with, right, in reality is XYZ coordinates, okay? But what is space's fourth measurement? And I don't think that exists. But I want to bring it up to you, Nathan. Like, what do you think about that? I don't think there is, right?
I'll actually pass it over to John to describe the asymptotically flat plane that is space. There is no fourth dimension, you're correct, but John, go ahead.
All right. Go ahead, John.
If he's around, he might have vanished temporarily.
He might have, yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Can you hold it? Because I do actually want him to address it. It's his last day here, so if he has vanished from the mic, he'll be kicking himself if he doesn't.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool if he explains it. Yeah, for sure. But how awesome of that question is, right? Like, that's a really good question. At least for people that are like searching for the truth.
They turn the time axis into one of the already existing 3 dimensions. So Brian's really good at describing it. They describe the y-axis as the time dimension, and you can only ever describe it pictorially as a 3-dimensional box, often on a 2-dimensional screen to begin with. So when they show the bending of a lattice work with a planet sat in the middle of a gravity well, you're like, that's a 3-dimensional drawing. It isn't, it's 2D, but you know what I'm saying. You know, it's like, what's the fourth dimension? There isn't one. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, it's still an
The reality is it's not reality.
Right. but so this cat brought it up earlier. I was like, dude, that's a great point, because everything we deal with is always, no matter how you point that out, bro, it's XYZ, and that's planar, that's elevation. That's all you need in all directions. That's all we're dealing with.
Yeah,
and there's nothing else besides
yes, and that's
that.
derivative of the celestial.
He's back. Did you hear the
Did you want me to explain how space requires a flat plane?
Yes, maybe if you can repeat the question, and then go ahead, John.
Yeah, so John, so John, we were waiting for you to come back so you could answer this. So I will say it again. Earlier, in the Discord server, another gentleman, as I said, I wish I remember his name, so I can give him kudos to such a great question for those that are listening to think about this, right? There is only, everything we do is always X, Y, Z, but where does space come into that? What's the fourth measurement for space, being that there isn't? But go ahead, explain.
Well, the celestial sphere is where everything begins and ends. You know, it's the Genesis and the Revelation. It's Alpha and Omega. Everything that they understand about reality requires that plane of reference, right? So they see the plane, we've measured it, we built the celestial sphere utilizing the flat plane, but then they're trying to account for this celestial sphere they've built using measurements, and they're like, well, how does the stars get underneath us? You know, because they're not interpreting the data correctly. There's no stars underneath us. You're interpreting the data wrong. But that's irrelevant. What they do then is they say, well, it can't be a flat plane. It has to be a sphere, and there has to be the stars have to be an infinite distance away, or near infinite, to strike the equatorial plane that for us to get these angles to apply them. Sounds so dumb saying it out loud, but the space, the very idea of it comes from the celestial sphere model, which is based on a flat plane. And that's why XYZ coordinates will always be used, because that's what the celestial sphere model utilizes.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say, with a slight lump in my throat, because it's refracted curvature, aka John's last appearance on a flat Earth debate live stream for potentially quite some long time to come. So obviously share some love with him in the comment section after the fact. But with that, I'm going to say, if you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. But if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, and all that good stuff. Obviously, massive thanks to Jardo for gifting all those memberships. And I'll see that I can send John a PayPal for $100 so you can share the love of the massive super chat that I got earlier as well. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. Another massive thank you to today's Politics Discord server for making the live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.